Welcome to the greatest place in the world, my doghouse. This is going to be about a simple phrase: be kind to others. We have become a society, we don't know how to be kind to anybody, not even our own families at times. It doesn't take a lot to be kind. You don't have to like somebody even to be kind and be respectful. Why have we come to this point in our existence? We can't be kind to others and be appreciative of things. No, there'll be bad people out there that will hate you regardless of what you do. That's all well and fine. That's on them. It's not on you. Your reaction is on you, and you can't go out and say, I ain't being kind because nobody else is kind to me. Guess what? Kindness does start with you. Being kind starts with you, ends with you. It's all about what you do when it becomes being kind. When you are kind to others, it will spread as a general rule. There'll be naysayers that if you're kind, they will be offended, but so be it. But it's still up on you to put out that effort. No one else. It starts and ends with you. When you are kind, others will follow. Why is it not okay to be kind? We we've gotten so bad at it. We have gotten in a society where being kind is offensive, and it should never be. People go out there negatively and do things. Yes, there's people out there that don't know how to be kind and won't be kind regardless of what happens. I've seen it on here. I've seen it in my everyday life. People that just refuse to be kind and courteous to others. And most of these hate themselves when it comes right down to it. It don't if you're after your neighbors for something and you're being rude and ignorant to them, that's not being kind. Being kind is something you have to do on a daily basis. In other words, let's say you going after somebody because you don't like them. You're using an excuse not to be kind. Sometimes your worst enemy, if you're kind to them, it may offend them, but they'll no longer mess with you. We forget how to be kind. We're in a society where we can't be kind in our minds. Okay, there's a difference. In our minds, we have convinced ourselves we can't go out be kind and courteous because the whole world's against me. The whole world is against you. That's not the case. We have that in our heads because it's a negative thought, and sometimes we have negative thoughts because it's an easier way out of things. Being positive and being kind isn't always the easiest task in the world to accomplish, but it can be accomplished and should be accomplished. When you are kind, you're leaving a trail that will always be here on earth. If you want to be evil and don't believe in kindness, you will leave that evil trail, but it will be defeated in the end. Your bad actions of not being kind will be met with somebody higher up than you. But just look around you. Look at things that's happening around you. And how many people compared to before are not kind. It don't take much to be kind to somebody or just be kind. If you can't stand a person, just walk away. Fighting them is not being kind. Fighting them just to be the opposite of kind is a bunch of crap. because you can walk away the majority of the time. There's a few times you won't be able to, but the majority of the time you can walk away. Being kind is what we were taught as kids. For whatever reason, we have given up being kind. And it's sad that we do that. Being kind was never meant to be not kind. In other words, regardless of who you meet out there in life, you still have to be kind. You may not agree with somebody all the time, and you may have confrontations with them, but still that kindness is backing away and let them do whatever, as long as it's legal. There's a difference between being kind to somebody that has a disagreement with you and being kind to somebody that's committing a felony. Two different things altogether. You can be kind and not have nothing to do with that person as far as, hi, how are you? That is being kind. When you go to the restaurant, your waiter or waitress, there's nothing wrong with saying please and thank you and showing them your kindness and your ethics of being kind. I gotta move something around here. There, that. I got another computer on, so I didn't want to see what was on that. But when we are kind, our own hearts are full of joy and love, and that kindness affects us. When you're not kind and you're out there deceiving people, you're hating yourself so bad you cannot be kind to others. You're walking down a path that is really, really hard to come back from. If you're kind, you don't have to worry about that. You will go forward, and you will prosper by going forward. Kindness is one of the most sought after things in our lives, or it should be. Sometimes it's not. But for the most part, when you are kind, you're showing who you really are. Sometimes it's the parents that teach you, or guardians teach you, or somebody teaches you this as a child. But we forget how to be kind when we get older. We decide to go down the path that's not kind and will not be kind for whatever reason. But here's the thing. We can have excuses why we're not kind. We don't want to be kind. They're excuses. You may have had a bad childhood. That don't make it right for you not to be kind. You may have had things happen to you as an adult that turns you against kindness. That is also an excuse. Because you will always have the evils trying to step on you. I don't care who you are or what you are, this will happen. But when that kindness in you comes out, that will oversee any evils. It may not seem it at the time, but it will help. Kindness should be in your heart to everyone. And like I said, waiter, waitresses, please and thank you. You don't need to sit there and find every little nitpicking and complain. I know people that do that, and I see it and I hear it, but it don't make it right. If you can't be kind to a waiter or waitress, stay out of the restaurant. If you can't be kind to a neighbor, don't say anything at all. Because we all have to get back to the basics in life. And one of them basic things in life is to be kind. It isn't to be evil, it is to be kind. Why do you want to go down the road of not being kind? Being kind takes nothing out of your daily life. Nothing. It's so easy to be kind, and we're all capable of doing it. But in our minds, for whatever reason, we think not being kind is a shortcut to get where we want. And, you know, and sometimes we don't realize what we are doing, and we don't. Sometimes we're not trying to be not kind, but we wind up being that because we open our mouths maybe when we shouldn't, and we all do that. There's no exception to that. But being kind should be part of your everyday life. Why do you think not being kind is okay? And this is a question you have to ask yourself. You can't ask your wife or your spouse or whatever. That question has to be asked and answered by you and you only. Because you can't make an excuse, well, my wife, my girlfriend, or whatever, I cannot be kind because of what they do. They are not dictating to you what you can and cannot do. Kindness comes from your heart, not somebody else. Yes, there's times that it's hard to be kind to certain people or people out there in our lives, and we all go through that. But still, you have to have that kindness in you, regardless of the circumstances. That kindness must be in you. No, that don't mean if somebody's treating you really, really bad, you still can be kind, but you don't have to put up with what is going on. There's several different ways to take care of that. But I'm just talking about overall kindness, the everyday activities we do. And we take advantage of some of these activities we do every day, and we forget about the kindness that should be involved. We, for whatever reason, just don't want to do it. Well, maybe we got a little bit of evil in us, I guess. So tell me, really, in your mind, why not being kind is a bad thing? We can make all the excuses in the world why we're not kind and what we do, but that's exactly what it is an excuse. We're using excuses for the bad things we do. And I bet you go in your neighborhood, you find people are that way. They will find an excuse why they are not kind, why they hate, why they think they're better than everybody else. They're all excuses. In reality, that's not going to work in the end. We all have to get to the point where we know that not being kind is bad. Even when we ourselves go down that path, and we all do, we have to pull ourselves back and get down that right path. We have two paths we can take in life: kindness or hate. And when you take that road of hate, you're going to hate yourself regardless. Whatever excuse you use, it comes down to you hating yourself. Why do you want to hate yourself? Why do you want to go down that road? Why would anybody go down the road of hate where kindness is where we should be at? Is it so hard to be kind to people? Have we got into a society where kindness is a dirty word? And some people really think that. I know people out there that if you're kind to them, they will be offended by it. But that's their problem, not yours. You still can be kind to that person and not go down the path they are going down because they're in the wrong. When somebody gives you a compliment and you're offended by it, you're not in the wrong. You're doing what you should be doing. They're doing what they shouldn't be doing. And once again, I bet you every one of you know people like this, because kindness sometimes offends people. And see, that's what I don't get. Why does kindness offend people? Why should it offend people? You don't have to 100% agree with somebody, but there still should be kindness in your heart. There should be kindness in what you do in life. Remember, that kindness comes from you. That kindness starts with you. You've been raised on how to be kind. Most of us have. But even if you haven't, you're still responsible for your own actions. And if them actions are wrong, it means it's wrong. Kindness has to start with you and ends with you, obviously. I see so many people out there that just hate everything. They don't know how to be kind and courteous. They just don't. If you say something that has nothing to do with anything, they'll have hate and discontent for you, and you were just being kind. Is because they're offended because you're of your kindness. They hate you because of your kindness. They may give you 100 excuses why they don't, but when it comes right down to it, they're offended by kindness. And you show kindness and they just turn on you. And I see it. I see people that are actually that way. You give compliment or something kindness, they will turn on you because they do not like it. They think this whole world is miserable, or the whole world is miserable but them. So don't give me a compliment. Don't be kind to me. And you don't think people like that exist, but they do. Sometimes it's so bad you can be kind to them, and they'll do everything in this world to put you down and make sure you never compliment them again. It goes back to them type of people really do hate themselves. There's 100 things you can do, but they still will hate themselves. You could be their buddy, and if you give them a compliment, they will hate you. That's their problem. Your problem is being kind. This is what it's all about. You can go out in this world and be as kind as you want, or whatever you want, but why wouldn't you be kind? Is not kindness what part of what we're here for? Compassion. If you are not a kind person, you will never have compassion. Compassion leads us to a good place in our hearts. Kindness leads us to a good place in our hearts. Our compassion is part of kindness. If you have compassion, you have kindness. And these people out there that don't get it, they don't know how to be kind. It's a shame, and I see it. And they'll never, ever figure it out. They're so full of excuses, they don't know how to be kind. But once again, that is them, not you. It's up to you to be kind. You can't force somebody to be kind and courteous or compassion. That's all in you. Not even your spouse, girlfriend, or whatever you have. It's all still in you, not them. You cannot use them as an excuse not to be kind. You just can't. All of us get annoyed at people, even friends, but you still can always have that kindness in your heart. That kindness should never leave. Yeah, annoyance is part of life too, but when you have that kindness, you go forward more than somebody that's not. What's wrong with going out of your way, saying please and thank you, you're welcome, other things that are kind? Okay, I don't care if somebody thinks this is not right because it's male, female. I will open the door. Well, I open for both. Open the door, let people in where I'm going, hold the door open for them. And they say, well, why do you do that? It's being kind. I'll even, a stranger will say something, I'll respond back in kindness, not out of rudeness or anything else. And I've opened the doors for people and they'll say thank you. They open them for me. I say thank you. That is being kind. When your neighbors need something or you know somebody that needs something, you open your heart and do it out of kindness, not out of what you think you're going to get dollar wise. Dollar wise should never interfere with you being kind. Kind don't have a price tag on it. Being courteous and compassion don't have a price tag on it. If you're putting a price tag on this stuff, you are the one in the wrong. Being kind means you go out and do what you know needs to be done. Sometimes it's not popular. Sometimes people will hate you for doing it. But that's all well and fine. They don't get it. As long as you get it, that's the major thing. And like I say, when you can't force somebody to be kind, that's on them, not you. But if you do not try, you will not know. Being kind, does that mean sometimes people will take advantage of it? If you throw money and that out at them? Oh, yeah. And it might not even be intentional, but sometimes that does come into play. But that has nothing to do with your kindness, your love, and the charity you show others. When you're out there showing others your charity and your sacrifice to help them, that is kindness. That's not the dollar amount. There shouldn't be a dollar amount because you go out, be kind, loving, and caring. Sometimes dollars do play a part, but that's besides the kindness end. You have to be kind. You can't sit there and say, I need dollars. If I don't get dollars, I can't be kind. You need to separate the two because kindness is priority over everything. Respect, well, you can say, I don't respect them because they don't respect me, or I don't give people respect because they have to respect me first. That's bogus. That's like being kindness. Respect is up on you first, not the other person. If they don't show you respect, that's a different story. But just like kindness and respect, and sometimes they go together too, kindness and respect. But if you're not willing to show either, you cannot expect somebody else to show that. Either way. Because you're afraid a lot of times somebody might be offended by what you say. You're not going to show that kindness. And that may sound stupid, but I know people that won't say something kind to somebody because of what they might think the other person will think. Well, guess what? It doesn't matter what the other person thinks. It matters what you think. It matters what you do. If they want to slap you in the face, at least you're making the effort and trying. And that's really, really important. You have to go out and try. And to me, kindness is not trying. It's an everyday activity for me. Do people get offended by me? Well, yeah. Do people hate me because I'm kind? Yeah, they do. I know people, like I said, you give them say something kind to them, they get offended by it. And yes, I see that almost every day. But that don't mean I won't be kind to that person or persons. I still will, regardless of what their actions are. Because my actions mean everything to me, and I have to do it for me and what is right. So don't worry about when people aren't kind to you, because you're the one out there having to go forth and show that kindness above all else. So don't be offended at all when people are not kind to you, because you're putting the effort. And that's where it starts. And that's what a lot of people don't get. Kindness starts with the individual. It has to start with the individual. It starts with you. Don't make excuses for not being kind, because it does start with you. And like I say, sometimes you're kind and people will slap you in the face. You just walk away. You don't need to get into their bad side of doing things all the time. You better recognize it, but you don't need to give up your kindness because somebody is offended of what you do. And that's the key. Just because somebody is offended what you're doing, if you're a kind person, don't worry about it. Because you can't control what he does, and he can't control what you do, so why not be kind? Kindness needs to come back in our society so bad. I wished it did exist more and more. It don't take anything to be kind. That's just it. I don't care who you are. You can be a kind person and do kind things and enjoy yourself. You know, you will enjoy yourself more being kind than hateful. When you're hateful, you miss so much in life by not being kind. When you are kind, you're doing more not only for yourself, you're doing what is right and what the higher being wants you to do. Evil comes with hate. That's why when you're kind, it still exists, but you're fighting it. That kindness will always pay off in your heart. And like I said, I've been kind to people and they've slapped me in the face. And I've even been kind to people and they wanted more. Well, that's on them. At least I'm out there doing it and trying it. Don't use the excuse, I won't try because people are not kind. Got a squirrel on my air conditioner. But kindness will start with you and ends with you. Your kindness needs to go far and beyond what anybody thinks. Why don't you want to be kind? You have to ask yourself that. Why don't I want to be kind? Why do I want to make excuses for hate when I don't need it? And yes, there's hate, and you need to confront that hate. But I'm just talking overall. Because there's going to be exceptions in your life you can't be kind. But them are far and few between. When you are kind, you accomplish more in your life than you ever thought of. Why? Because you're doing what is right and what you need to do. Is that so hard to do? It shouldn't be hard to do at all. Kindness should fall upon you, which it does, that you go out every day and practice it. You know, if you're a really kind person and have a loving soul, that comes naturally. You really don't even have to think about it. I do things, and I'm not a saint by any means. Don't even think that, but I can go out and do stuff for people or whatever, just naturally do it. And they'll say, well, you're a kind person. That's not why I'm doing it. Being kind comes natural. It should come natural. Sticking up for what is right and being kind is all the same thing to me. You go out and do what you know is right. And what is right is being kind. Just because somebody criticizes you and make fun of you, you don't 100% have to comment on it. You can, but you don't need to. You don't need to go down that track all the time. If they want to say you're an idiot, well, so be it. But you're going to be a kind idiot. And we as just a whole need to focus on a few things in our lives. And one thing we do need to focus on is being kind. And like I say, if you're kind, the problem is if you're kind, you're constantly doing it without realizing you're doing it. And that's what we should be doing. You don't need to say, I got to go out and be kind today. You're just naturally going to do it. And that is a plus. When you are kind, it is so much better in our lives than if we're evil. Why not go out and be kind to people? Why not? Even friends, family. We have a tendency, even with family, oh, that's stupid. We forgot how to be kind. Personally, my mom raised all 10 of her kids to be kind. Yes, 10. That's not an exaggeration, that's a legitimate number. Every one of us knows how to be kind and compassionate. Do we get upset and have tempers? Most of us do. But overall, we got to remember kindness. And sometimes kindness will control a temper you may have, because if you're out there doing it naturally, you're not thinking about a temper or anything else. Unless somebody's pushing it on you. Even if you, in that situation, let's say you're being kind and somebody's pushing you to go over and not be kind so they have something on you, don't fall for it. You can always walk away. Even on here, if somebody starts criticizing you, calling you names, just ban them, because that's not opinion. When you go that far, that's just being rude and crude and not being kind. Difference than an opinion. Me personally, I get people on here that disagree with me, and all well and fine, it's still there. People that start calling names, stuff like that, they're gone because they're not even kind. You can have disagreements and still be kind. And on here, there's a lot of people that don't catch on to that. It's a shame, but it's true that this is a problem. Once again, it's people not knowing how to be kind. Well, I take that back. They know how to be kind. They just don't want to. They think being evil and stupid is a lot easier than kind. Well, let them keep thinking that, because they can't control whether you're going to be kind or not. That is up to you. You can't rely on somebody else and say, well, this person wasn't kind, so why should I be? It's still up to you. If you will go down that path, your kindness, and somebody comes up just rude, and like I've had it happen to me, the kinder I have to certain people, the worse it was. But at least I tried. And that's what we all should be doing by being kind. Is it that hard? Is it that hard to go out, make that effort to be kind? Because to me, it isn't an effort. It's an everyday deal with me. No, I'm not rich. Not even close. I live off a little retirement, my wife and I, and we're fully retired, so we got Social Security and that. No, we're not hurting for money. but we can't go out and do luxury things like as a whole. Go out and buy a car. No, we're not going to do that. Everything I got's paid for, and we can live off of what we get. But that's the money end of me. But I 100% guarantee when it comes to being a kind person, I do everything in my power to be that way. Sometimes I go off the rails, but that's not a lot, but it does happen. But I try to be this kind, caring person. I tell you what, I'm willing to help somebody out that I don't know. And I have. Not even know. And they'll, well, you're kind. Another one, you're kind. You're so kind. That it's just natural. I don't do it to have somebody say that. And I definitely don't do kindness for money. That's just not going to happen. Because I'm going to be kind because that's who I am. And I have to. Everybody should be kind. I try and I try. Sometimes I fail, but the majority of the time I I come out and be kind. No, I'm not patting myself on the back. It's just something everybody should do. I, I am no better than anybody on here. Zero. But I will not give up my kindness, nor should you. We should be more kind than what we are. And we all can improve on being kind, even me. We need to go that extra step. That little temper we have, we need to control it more. No, I don't go out and beat up people. I haven't been in a fight since grade school. And that's the truth. I really haven't. Because most people see me as being kind and that even the bullies they didn't bother with me. And that's a true story. I'm 66 now. Last time I punched somebody was in 6th grade. I've been kind. I've tried to be kind. Sometimes I screw up, but we all do. But we get back to being kind is what we should always do. We should not decide we're not going to be kind. So please go out, be kind, show that compassion you have in you. Please. It's up to you. Please show that kindness and compassion because that's what we should be doing.